Well, greetings, everyone. I just wanted to make sure that this week that we are live. I've had some contacts, excuse me, with StreamYard, and it seems like we had some technical difficulties last week, and we were not recorded. Um, but hey, we're back this week, and it seems very clear that uh, there's a lot going on within the NFL. Record number of trades made on uh, the last day of trading. A couple of days ago, I think it was the second. And we'll be discussing a lot of these trades that were made. Um, and what impact some of them will have on some of our fantasy football teams when it comes to especially flex and or wide receiver three, um, whichever position that your particular team may have. So there may be a little fluctuation there. Um, a lot of these trades we saw coming, but you know, as I said, I don't think that they were as quite as uh, uh, high of an impact as we thought they were, other than the ones that were made prior to today. But I see Mike is here, and in honor of our rankings this week, I bought a new shirt, especially for the show.
Right on.
So let me show it to you here.
The official drink of. Oh, I should have stopped at official drink.
Everybody knows that I'm a Coke drinker. So, no, I'm actually a Pepsi drinker when I can drink Pepsi. Uh, Interesting story. When I was a professional chef, I used to drink between 6 and 8 2-liter bottles of Pepsi a day.
Whoa.
And I mean, well, just imagine working, as a saute chef and a real high end kitchen, and you get, it drained you, and that was uh, my go to drink. Well, one kidney later,
Yeah,
I'm
right.
still here. I'm still here.
Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm sorry that you're missing a kidney.
Well, it's still there, but it's kind of like that squeaky wheel. Like, every once in a while, it shows up in the blood test, like, and so, you
Hear
know,
you.
yeah. But
Being a diabetic, I definitely hear you.
yeah, so, you know, uh, uh, the funny thing is now I've resorted to apple juice, and I'm drinking a gallon of apple juice a day. But at least it's water. I mean,
Yeah, you got
so
water in there somewhere. Yeah, with
yeah.
with the Coke and no, I don't know about water in there.
Yeah, well, I wasn't. I'm not a real water drinker, and I think it has to do with the fact that there was a time when I had to drink so much water to stay hydrated. Like, it just lost its taste, its interest, except to bathe and stuff like that.
Right.
But let's get to some of the things that I was talking about. Now, I may have kind of thrown you off with that World Series question. Uh,
No. I
okay.
that one I got. What I didn't know was that the series was tied at 2-2. I thought Houston was
No,
dominating.
that's what I'm saying. That now it's 3-2, But at the time that was written, which was before last night's game, if you remember, the night before was the combined
No
no
hitter.
hitter that
Right.
I was speaking of,
Right.
and that was the one that tied it up at 2-2.
Okay.
And then last night, Houston won. Was it 3-1, something like that? I forget. It was 3-1 the last time
Maybe
I
that's
looked.
where I got it from, that I thought they were up 3 games to 1. See, so what I thought was, because I don't really follow at all. I
Yeah,
mean, I know they're in the World Series. I know they're playing the Phillies, Astros and Phillies, but like I thought they were up, that combined no hitter made it 3 games to 1, not the score was 3-1.
no,
So
no, no, no,
gotcha.
no. Yeah, no. That combined game made it 2-2.
Okay.
But the reason why I asked the question is, uh, Bill and I were talking about, the old days of baseball, and I know you're kind of an historian as far as sports is concerned, but you know, when you think about, Sandy Koufax or some of the great pitchers, you
Mhm.
know, uh, a no hitter was a guy that got on, that was on the mound. He pitched the whole game
Right.
himself. I mean, that there was, once you got relieved, there wasn't a no hitter.
Right.
Now you have three guys combining, and they call it the second, you know, the second what greatest, game in world history. I mean, World Series history. In other words, like this was what they call it, the second or the third uh, no hitter in history.
Right.
And I'm thinking, is it the same when you have a guy? I mean, can you imagine going out there, out to the mound and telling uh, let's just say what was the guy that pitched with the blood on his
Oh yeah, was it Roger Clemens who did that?
no, it was no, it was the other guy that for Boston. It wasn't Clemens. It was, but anyway, I mean, can you even Clemens is a good example. Could you imagine going out there telling Clemens at the end of 8 innings, like, hey, you've reached your limit of pitches here, and we're going to yank you.
Yeah, that wouldn't go
Did,
very far. That would
you
not go very far.
you know, so I mean, so do you think it's the same, a combined no hitter as a
No.
no hitter?
Um, I think by the rules it's a no hitter, but do I feel it's the same? No. I mean, it's like, okay, so you're bringing up being a chef and a cook, right? Well, if you're making a dinner and then you make the steak and someone else makes the carrots and someone else makes the potatoes, yeah, the meal is on the plate, but each individual of you and that other 2 other people can't say that they made the whole dinner, right? You all contributed to making that dinner. It's all 3 of you. But is the dinner being made? Yes. But so by rule, yeah, the dinner was made, but is one person should be one person credited or it should no, absolutely not. So yeah, it's a no hitter, but I don't consider it in the same vein as say as you mentioned Sandy Koufax, and those kind of things. No, they went all 9 innings and they did it all by themselves.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, not to discredit, the fact that it was a genuine no hitter, but you know, I just don't think that uh, you know, it, hey, analytics, as Bill would say, you know.
The analytics is for sure. I mean,
Yeah,
give me the managers that don't live and die by analytics. That's why I like Bruce Bochy so much, was because he did it the way he felt was necessary to do it, not just because left-handed versus right-handed and right-handed versus left-handed and all that kind of stuff. No, you're either going to do it or you're not. And if you feel like this pitcher doesn't have it, regardless of the matchup, then he doesn't have it or the hitter has it or doesn't have it. You just got to do what you feel is best.
Yeah. It's like I said, there's a place for analytics, and
Mhm.
I guess if you're a purist, you do want to see things done the old-fashioned way, but
Yep.
then again, I still use a microwave, so you know.
Yeah, there you go. Right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, yeah, sometimes
yeah,
analytics are what works or what's needed. That's for sure.
yeah, so uh, let's talk a little college football here. Uh, we talked last week about Dion and
Mm,
possible him becoming the coach at Auburn. Well, it seems that the Auburn has made Cadillac Williams its interim coach.
I remember Cadillac.
Yeah, well, Cadillac went to Auburn,
That's right.
and
Forgot about that.
I'm thinking, we were talking about Dion, but what do you think the chances are that Cadillac uh, re- becomes the coach without the interim title next season?
Yeah, that's the one thing that I'm a firm believer of. If whoever makes these decisions decides that they're an interim, okay, it seems like it's so hastily removed. Like, I don't know how many times out of 10 an interim coach never becomes a full-time coach, regardless of how well they do. For instance, the last time that I can remember was the Las Vegas Raiders when they had I can't remember his name, the special teams coach, who did a fantastic job. Obviously, did a better job than what's going on now with the Raiders if you look at the records. Um, and then fantastic job, and then he's gone, and it's just like, why don't we give these guys a chance? So if Cadillac Williams comes in and does a great job, he should earn that head coaching position. Now, if he comes in and it's just over his head, then of course not. But I think that interim has too much of a meaning of you're going to be this for a couple weeks and then now you're gone. And I hate that. I think if coach deserves and earns the right, he should be the coach.
But now I agree with most of what you said there, but he's inheriting a bad team.
Mhm.
So what does it mean for him to do better? I mean,
Yeah.
he still has the same raw materials. I
Right.
mean, yeah. So I mean, does he have to win one game? Does he have to win two games? I mean, it's not like he got a winning program.
Right. No, I don't look at wins and losses. I look at how well they do as a coach and how well the players play under him. If there is an improvement of play under him, then he's done a better job. If they feel like he can recruit and can bring in players, and I don't see why not. I mean, there's some Cadillac Williams was a great football player until he tore, his ACL like 4 times or whatever it was. Um, so the name is still out there, and he can recruit very well. So um, it's those things, right? Um, I hate intern tags. I just really I think it's unfair to the coach. I think it's unfair to the players, the organization. Now I get it. I know it's necessary because you're not going to just hire someone to come in a full season, but they should get a lot more credit than what they get. If
Yeah,
if if they do the job, right? They got to do the job.
but in the meantime, I think when you put the interim on, you know, how confident are the players?
Sure.
He- he's coach,
Right.
plain and simple. No interim, no. Uh, it, it, otherwise, you might as well, just he's a temp.
Yep. Yeah,
you know,
and
well,
that's one of the reasons why I hate that is because it's exactly that. Are the players going to really respect him? I mean, hopefully they do, but as you mentioned, if they just look at him as some guy that's just going to be there for 2 months, then they might not. They just be like, whatever, coach. Okay, sure, I'll go out there and do that because I want to win, or yeah, I respect you, or whatever, or I want my teammates not to look disfavorable to me, whatever the reasons may be. But yeah, I mean, there's no reason to take them overly serious when they're just an intern.
yeah, I want my letter this season.
Yep. Yep.
you know, and, you know, I'll show up at McDonald's, coach, or whatever.
Yep. Whatever you want. I'll just do it. I'll
Yeah,
play the game, but I'm not going to sell out
yeah.
and
I'm
do
not.
what you know.
Yeah, I'm not going to give it that 110%. I'll
Right.
give you 85.
Yep.
But I'm not going to give you that. You're not going to be here to see me next year. So what?
Yep. Exactly.
um, staying on that uh, topic of coaching and whatnot, and I know that you and Bill are one of those guys that follow these guys from cradle to grave. You might not get the cradle out. I'll give you at least middle school. But
Okay.
Bill,
Okay. As long as it's middle school, we're good.
yeah, but Bill is probably there at the birth, or
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Bill's definitely there at birth. There's no doubt about that.
okay. So uh, Tennessee is now the new number one in the latest coaching polls. Do you think that this a win over Georgia this
Ooh.
weekend also makes Hendon Hooker the number one college quarterback too?
Yeah, I do. I really do. I think he's been fantastic this year, and if he can pull that game and beat Georgia, regardless of where they are in the rankings, then absolutely, I think he's going to get a lot of credit and should be, one of the top contenders for the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah. Well, now, do you think that he would vault over uh, CJ and what's the kid's name down in Alabama?
Well, Alabama, CJ Stroud and I've lost his name. Why can't I think of his name? I know who you're talking about. I just can't
Yeah,
think of his name. Bryce Young. Bryce Young.
right. Yeah. Do you think that I'm sure you've watched the three of them.
Yes.
So which one do you think has uh, the greatest possibility of being number one next year?
I think Bryce Young. I don't know if he can leave or not. I think CJ Stroud can, or it's vice versa. I can't remember exactly which one. Or they both can. I don't know.
I
To be
think they
honest.
both can.
Um,
I'm pretty sure they both can because what CJ Bryce is what second third year.
yeah, I think they're both juniors.
Yeah, so I think they both can. I mean, I'm sure they both can leave if they, if that's what. But would a win, and would a win by CJ by Hendon,
Yeah.
excuse me, Allen Hendon Hooker, Bill told me that last night. So, uh, do you think that it would take a Heisman for him to vault over the two of them?
Yeah, I think that he's going to have to go undefeated. If he doesn't, then it's probably going to go to like CJ Stroud. But uh, I think right now, if the season ended today, Hendon Hooker wins the Heisman. If they go on and Ohio State is the champion and that kind of thing, then CJ Stroud wins the Heisman. So it's going to come down to that. But at this point right now, I would take Hendon Hooker as the winner of the Heisman Trophy.
Okay, now I was kind of well, I don't surprised when I saw Clemson vault over Michigan,
Yep.
uh, and um, it kind of came down to me that how I'm trying to figure out the thinking here because I looked at the schedule for Clemson and I looked at the schedule for Michigan. Now it's obvious that I'm not a Michigan fan, so okay, so there's no bias here whatsoever. But which team do you think has the tougher strength of schedule, Clemson or Michigan? And why do you think that the pollsters rated Clemson over Michigan?
Yeah, as I'm looking at it, it looks like Michigan's still at 4 and Clemson's at 5.
You looking at the coaches poll from ESPN?
The AP. So in the under the coaches poll, is that where it flipped?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, Michigan hasn't played they played Penn State, and that was their toughest schedule. I mean, toughest team on their schedule. Now, as far as what
But
Clemson is playing,
look at the rest of your schedule. How you close out? You close out with two teams in the top 25, including Ohio State.
right? We still have Ohio State left.
And you have somebody. Is it? You have somebody on your schedule that's ranked. Is it Illinois or?
I don't know. I have
I
to
think
see.
I think they're. I think they're ranked. Let me see. Where am I at here?
Let's see here. So they have Rutgers tomorrow, then Nebraska. Yes, correct. Illinois, who's 14th, and then Ohio State, who's second. So the last two games,
Are with ranked opponents.
are ranked top 15 opponents.
Yeah, if you look at, I'm looking at the college football playoff rankings.
Okay.
They're right. They're right beside the AP top 25, but they're reversed.
Huh.
And then
Okay.
Alabama is number 6.
God, did they fall? So Michigan and then Clemson, right? Let's see who Clemson plays or played.
Clemson has had their highest game as far as playing a ranked opponent. I think they do play Notre Dame.
They do. Notre Dame is not ranked though.
No. So and they've already beaten Syracuse.
Syracuse was 22. NC State was 21 at the time. Then 20 Wake Forest. So they've gotten 3 games in, but I mean, the teams that they play too, like Wofford, Citadel, Furman.
Well, they close out with Notre Dame, Louisville, Miami, South Carolina.
Yeah, that's pretty easy right there. They've done their work, and none of them were in the top 10, so or top 15. So I would say Michigan has the harder schedule.
So how do you think that in the poll that counts the college football rankings, why do you think that they preferred Clemson over Michigan?
That's a great question. I'm sure it has to do with points, and maybe it's just because up until this point right now, Clemson has played more top 20 teams than Michigan has. So maybe that has something to do with it. Obviously, scores have something to do with it, um, and that kind of thing. So that would be my guess, is the fact that they've been already sort of battle tested.
How are you satisfied with the way the quarterback uh, situation was handled? Remember, at one time we were talking about, you had two quarterbacks, which in most cases means you don't have any. But
Right.
how do you think that Michigan uh, came to the final decision, and were you satisfied with that decision, being a fan?
Yeah, I am. I think JJ McCarthy was the right call. I thought it should be, but I'm not, obviously. I'm not the head coach. I'm not the coach, any of the coaches. I'm not in the locker room. I'm not discussing certain situations. So, but as a fan's point of view, I'm pretty happy with JJ McCarthy.
All right, man. Well, hey, I talked a little bit about it just before you came on. We had a record-breaking trade deadline.
Yeah,
We had 10 teams, I believe, that were involved. And I'm going to ask you about what you think about the trades.
sure.
So we're going to start out with the Dolphins getting Bradley Chubb and a 2025 fifth round pick. And the Broncos got Chase Edmonds, a 2023 first round pick, and a 2024 fourth round pick. Do you think the Broncos are already in a rebuilding mode?
Yeah, I do. They can't be happy with Russell Wilson. Cortland Sutton's getting older. Jerry Judy's still, and I think it'll be his fourth year coming up next year. And they don't really have any youth. Well, I take that back. They do have youth at running back with Williams. So it's the offensive line probably needs some help. And defense needs some rebuilding parts as well. So I would say they're in rebuilding mode, especially if you go after a first rounder.
Um, the Dolphins also got running back Jeff Wilson from the 49ers
Yeah.
for a 2023 fifth round draft pick. Uh, what do you think about that backfield reunion, Mozart and Jeff Wilson? They were uh, running back mates in college. What do you think about that? Is this going to help the Finns Super Bowl hopes?
Yeah, I do. Especially if we've seen Raheem Mostert not be such a healthy player over the time, and I think that they're both 49er players last year. They were teammates, in fact. Um, so with Mike McDaniel, who was the running game coach for the 49ers last year, this fits their system pretty well. I mean, that's what he's trying to establish there is the 49ers run game. And what's better than to get the players that know the system? And I think that's a huge reason why they went after Jeff Wilson.
Okay. The Ratbirds got Raekwon Smith from the Bears. You remember at one time he was talking about he wanted to trade. Well, he got
Yep,
it,
you got it.
and now he's a Ratbird. Uh, the Bears got linebacker AJ Klein and 2023 second round pick and a second and fifth round pick in 2023. What are your thoughts about that? Did the Ratbirds overpay, or knowing that they needed to shore up that run defense? Does this now make them the favorite to get uh, to the conference finals?
Their offense, I don't think their offense is capable, but this really solidifies that defense. But now you're gonna have Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith at your linebacker positions. That's going to be huge for them. And then they give out, AJ Klein, who's elderly as far as terms of football goes, and then you give up a second round pick and a fifth round. I, I'm I don't know. I mean, to me, this seems like something you want to do if you, like you mentioned, if you feel like they're going to be a championship team, and maybe they do. But a second round pick when you need wide receivers badly, I don't know if I would have done that. So we'll see what they do with the first round pick. I'm sure it's probably will be a wide receiver, but for the most part, it's good that defense is now solidified, and we'll see what they do with the offense.
Well, speaking of wide receivers, the Bears got Claypool from the Steelers for a second round pick. Uh, did the Bears overpay for Stonehands?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I guess they figured that, well, okay, we can give up the second round pick since we got one in return from the Ratbirds. But yeah, I mean, Claypool is awful. So I mean, they got now they got this wide receiver 2 and now a wide receiver 3. So all they need now is a wide receiver 1, and they'll be good to go.
Uh, from their talk, that's what Claypool's going to be. And I thought Montgomery, like you said, was at least a 2. So I, uh,
Yeah, they
yeah,
got Claypool as their wide receiver 3 now. They should be pretty excited.
yeah. And when I said Stonehands, I'm not referring to Roberto Duran.
Oh yeah.
So um, the Vikings, they got tight end T.J. Hawkinson and a fourth round pick and a 2024 conditional fourth round pick. The Lions got a, hmm, as you just mentioned, a 2023 second round pick and a 2024 third round pick.
Mhm.
First of all, do you think that the interdivision trade was wise?
Hmm.
And I guess you've heard what TJ had to say. Is glad to get to a winning program, which I don't really think that that's a knock
No.
on him, because the guy has talent, and I mean, now I'm not going to say that this improves his chances of. Uh, well, it does improve his chances of getting to a Super Bowl. Not that much. I mean, who's good, who has at least he gets a playoff check. So,
Yeah.
but what's your thought on this interdivision trade, and how much does he improve the Vikings?
I think he's the missing piece on that offense. Irv Smith wasn't working out. He was hurt most of the time. And when he was on the field, he was kind of too smallish to do much of anything. Now you got, I believe he made the Pro Bowl. So I'm going to call him a Pro Bowl tight end, TJ Hawkins. And if he hasn't, then it's not a lack of talent by any means. So you go from Irv Smith to T.J. Hawkinson, and you have Adam Thielen, and you have Jefferson and Dalvin Cook and Alexander Madison and Kirk Cousins. This offense really is starting to vibe. As far as the interdivisional trade, I think those are great. Those are always fun because you just don't see them very often.
Yeah, that's kind of the point. Like,
Yep.
I mean, Well, no, I was thinking even Reggie White, but Reggie went from was the Eagles to the Packers.
The Packers, correct?
Yeah, okay. The Jaguars, and maybe you can explain this to me because uh, you know I was asking Bill, but I'll go through the question first. But the Jaguars, they get Calvin Ridley. Now, Calvin Ridley, to my knowledge, hasn't played at least for 17, 18 months, something like that.
Yeah, he shut it down last year for mental health reason. I think in week
Well,
4.
well, it was a little more than that because, well, anyway, the Falcons get a 23 conditional fifth round pick and a 2024 second round pick. Now, do you think Ridley's going to be ready, or do you think he's going to become the NFL's Pete Rose?
Mm, mm, I think
Because
the
you know that was his problem, betting on games.
yeah, and betting on his team and
Right, right.
in the middle of games, he's making bets.
Yeah.
Um, I I don't think he will become Pete Rose per se. I I don't even know if Pete Rose was going to become the what he is now. I think they made a deal just like they made a deal with Michael Jordan. Um, but it with just circumstances and situations just broke, unfortunate for Pete Rose, and then he made things worse and all that kind of stuff. But Calvin really came out clean and said, "Yeah, I did it. I was wrong." I mean, it was pretty obvious when his username was Ridley Calvin. I mean, he's got you got to be a little bit more smarter than that. But yeah, I think that
He's a wide receiver, man. He has to have the attention. He has to get credit for everything he does. He's a
yeah,
wide
exactly.
receiver. I mean, come on now. It's not, you know, it's not like he was the left tackle. He's a
Right.
he's a wide receiver. Look at me. I mean, come on. I
Look at
mean,
me, I'm getting away with it.
yeah, you know, yeah.
um, so now ready, that it remains to be in question because as you mentioned, it's been a long time since you've seen a football field. And it's not going to be easy if let's just say he comes back, for the week 1 of next season. It's going to be difficult. It's not going to be an easy road for him at all. He's going to have to get in game shape, and he's going to have to be, get used to football. And when we saw Deshaun Watson, what he looked like, Calvin Ridley is not too far away from that kind of situation where running patterns and hitting exactly where you need to put that right foot to make that instep turn and turn your head and just all riding a bike all over again.
But see, here's the thing that throws me though. I agree with everything that you said, except that it says the Falcons receive a 2023 conditional
Mhm,
fifth round pick.
mhm.
So evidently they're expecting something out of him in 2023. I mean, what's the conditions? He has to stand up. He has to. I mean, does he have to? Run a 40? I mean, there
Right.
has to be. I mean, you're not going. Would you wait until he's on the field in 2024? Well, 2023. Is that the condition he has to be able to make the team?
The conditions could be the fact that they allow him back in the league.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I think that part is pretty much settled.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree. It's pretty much he's coming back, I believe.
okay, it's your turn. The Bills got Naeem Hines. The Colts got Zach Moss and a 2023 fifth round pick. Which
Okay.
player do you think benefited most from this trade? And notice I said player, not team.
Did you do you want me to go ahead and do what the conditions are for Calvin Ridley, or do you want me to jump to this question?
Well, you can go ahead and do the Calvin Ridley conditions.
Okay, so according to Ian Rappaport, the conditions attached for Calvin Ridley is if he gets reinstated by a date, it's worth a 2023 fifth. Otherwise, it's for a sixth. If he makes the team in 2024, it's at least a fourth. If he hits playtime milestones, it's a third. If the Jacksonville Jaguars get a long-term situation done, it's a second.
Okay.
So, wow, that's a lot
Somebody,
of conditions.
yeah. Well, that's a lot to pay for Calvin Ridley, but I
Exactly.
mean, you know. But what do you think about that Naeem Hines trade? It kind of surprised me. Especially after, of course, Jonathan being down for another week, and they had to know that when they traded him that Jonathan was going to be, wasn't going to be full strength.
Yeah, they did. Well, according to what transpired was the fact that Naeem Hines demanded a trade, and he wanted out, and his salary cap or his salary is pretty high, and the Colts, where they are right now as a team, don't really want this salary either. So, also, what made it interesting was that it was 1 o'clock was the deadline for trades to happen, and it had to be like at 12:59 and 30 seconds. I mean,
It was really late. I don't
it
know.
was
Yeah,
it was
it was
super late.
really late. It was like
And everybody's like, okay, we're keeping Naheem Hines. Us Colt fans in our inner circle, we're like, yeah, we're keeping him, and then boom, he's gone. I don't like the trade. I don't like Zach Moss. Nothing personal, of course, but the guy has been more of a healthy scratch than he's probably played football games, and you get a 6th-round pick, so you're basically giving Naheem Hines away for free.
yeah. Basically, now the Bills also brought back safety uh, Dean Marlowe. The Falcons got a 2023 7th-round pick, but Marlowe returns as a return guy. I mean, not a return, but a reserve. I mean, that's he's been there before.
Hmm.
So I mean, when you think of them getting a older safety and Naheem Hines, what's your grade on the Bills? As far as, I mean, they're already, I think, and I say this with a great amount of prejudice. They're already number one, I think, in the AFC.
Yes.
So, did they improve? Did they stay the same?
Well, I think with Marlowe, they've been having problems with their safeties. I think Jordan Poyer is out, and then their other safeties, I can't. His name's
Yeah,
not coming.
one's out for the year.
I think
Uh,
that's Poyer,
yeah,
and then the other one is out. I don't know if he's out for the year. So I think Marlowe comes in to sort of rescue what would possibly be a disaster. Um, and
and
then with
already knowing the system.
yes,
Yeah,
Um, and with Naheem Hines, he just adds so many dimensions to the offense. I mean, third down specialist. He can line up. Is a great blocker for a running back. Can line up, all over the field from running back to wide receiver to slot. And he can field punts and kicks and do all those kind of things where they were having troubles with. So I think they've done a great job. This team that is already could be, right now it's subjective until we get to the Super Bowl, but could be the best team in football. And they've just gotten better. Safety is going to be a concern, but we'll see how much Marlowe can keep it from being a complete collapse.
Yeah, like I said, in this case, he doesn't have to learn the system because he's already been a part of it.
Right.
Um, the Clowns get linebacker Deion Jones and a 2024 seventh round pick, and the Falcons get a 2024 sixth round pick. Uh, was this acquisition by the Clowns a move after losing Anthony Walker for the season?
Yeah, I think it could be for sure. I mean, we're not looking at a high profile trade here when you're talking about these players. So it's one of those situations where you lose Anthony Walker, but then you get Deion Jones, who once he gets the system down, can be I think just as adequate.
Uh, speaking of, I mean, I should have called this the Falcon Trade Show. But anyway,
Right.
the Falcons got cornerback Rashid Fenton, and the Chiefs got a conditional 2023 seventh round pick. If this were blackjack, would you call this a push?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Seventh round for Rashid Fenton. I'm not even familiar with Fenton, to be honest with you. So I would definitely call it a push.
I think Fenton was a high round pick that didn't work out. You have to look and see where he was drafted,
Hmm.
but I think he was.
Oh, he's pretty young. Let's see. Rashad Fenton.
And
Sixth rounder. He was a sixth rounder.
but he's still hanging on, right?
Yeah, still playing.
Yeah,
That's pretty. I mean, especially for someone with such low capital. That
yeah. The Steelers got William Jackson the third and a cornerback uh, William Jackson the third and a 2025 conditional seventh round pick. The Commanders, they got a 2025 conditional sixth round pick. Is this guy a high risk, low risk, high reward guy? Another young guy.
Yeah. He is. I don't know what do you think of this being the Steelers?
Well, uh, uh, I'm waiting for, like Big Ben, for Micah to walk off into the sunset also. So, anything that strengthens, our secondary, and it's not ready for Social Security. I'm good. So yeah, and I mean, once again, we talk about this season being a losing season for the Steelers, or at least I do. Realistically, I can't see them winning 9 games. I'm not sure that they'll win 5. Uh, but I understand. It's kind of Pickens do or die, bust. You know, bust or boom. So I'm good with it. Because right now, that's the least of our problems. I would have thought they would have tried to shore up the offensive line, but you know, like you say about the Colts, I have to say about the Steelers. Nobody called me into the draft room, so
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
The Cowboys got defensive tackle Jonathan Hankins and a 2024 seventh round pick. And the Raiders got a 2023 sixth round pick. Do you think that he helps shore up the Cowboys' run D?
Yeah, I think he does. I mean that's sort of his specialty to do so. So, I mean the Cowboys' defense is already really good, and now they've one of the top with this move.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll see. And he's got a bye week to kind of get
Oh, they learn
acclimated.
yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. That's yeah, that would definitely help him.
Yeah. Okay. Predictions this week. Now we last night, we were talking about these predictions, and of course, the Eagles and the Texans were playing last night. And I don't know if you watched the game last night.
I did.
Okay. I believe it was what 6:52 left in the game, and the score uh, was it 29-17?
That sounds about right.
Anyway, the Eagles were ahead by 12.
Right.
Okay, which is how the game ended. But when I asked this question, there was 6 minutes and 52 seconds left, and the Eagles were ahead by 12 with the ball. I think they got the ball on the 5 yard line or something like that.
Okay.
The spread was 13 and a half. Would you have taken the Eagles, or would you have taken the Texans with the 13 and a half?
Ooh, that's a tough question.
And you know how the game ended, but like I said, at the time, it's almost 7 minutes left in the game, and the Eagles had the ball.
So 12. Yeah, I think I would took the over on that, especially with like 7 minutes left to go in the game.
Yeah, like I said, I was thinking about it because at the beginning, everybody said, no, they'll never cover. They'll never cover." And then it's like,
Yeah, well, what was it at halftime? It was what was it 17-17 at
it's
halftime?
17-17 at halftime.
And
No,
Houston
actually, it was 14-14 at halftime.
14-14.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that defense looked really good. And then it sort of just collapsed midway through the third quarter, I think. And they had that interception. Davis Mills threw that interception at the what was like the 35. That didn't help much. So overall, I think the Texans did well as far as up until that point, anyways. And then yeah,
Well, they still covered. So
yeah.
okay, the Chargers minus 2.5 at the Falcons.
Chargers minus 2.5 at the Falcons. I'm gonna go Chargers, and I'm gonna go like 5. So I'm gonna go the over.
Uh, the Dolphins minus 4.5 at the Bears.
Yeah, Dolphins should win again. Yeah, I'd take the over at 5, but 4.5, 5. So push.
Um, the Panthers plus 8.5 at the Bengals.
I'm gonna go the under on this one. That Panthers team is amazingly different and better ever since they let go of their better players. I mean, DJ Moore's still there, of course, but like, wow, they get rid of CMC, and then who else did they get rid of? I forget. And And then they're better for it. It's like
They got Robbie Anderson, right?
yeah, they got rid of Robbie Anderson as well. Very strange.
The Colts plus 5.5 at the Patriots.
Patriots might win this game by 10. I think Sam Ellinger is going to be in a hellhole just because of what not I was going to say Bill Parcells, not Bill Parcells, but Bill Belichick is going to do to him. He's going to. I don't even know if Ellinger is going to be able to figure this thing out. This Rubik's cube of a defense that he's going to face. So I think we're going to see turnovers anyways with the Colts, and so I'm going to go the over. Patriots in the over.
All right. What's going on with Jonathan, man? He's killing me. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Killing me.
I think it's a mixture of things. I think the Colts are always precautious with their players, and that was going to hold them out anyways. But I also think that they're already sort of figured this season's a wash, and so why further hurt or take a chance of hurting Jonathan Taylor? So wait until he gets fully healthy, which should be next week, and then put him back out there. But yeah, I don't think they want to risk it, and it's not a pressure situation where they're going to need to win this game to go to the playoffs because that went out the window last week.
All right. Maybe it's just me, but are there any whisperings we've seen? Nobody thought that we'd see Christian McCaffrey in a 49ers uniform.
Right.
And as you said, like this season's a wash. Don't really see a lot of improvement for next season, unless what are you going to do about your two aging quarterbacks? Let alone what this guy's going to do. You still need an offensive line. Is Taylor going to be around next year?
I would hope so. But who knows what they'll do? They might ship him off. He's next year will be his fourth season. And it's one of those situations where you can't really put on a lot of hope for a running back. Extending him to a long-term deal is not going to be ideal, just because he's already showing this breakdown anyways. And then if you can get a couple of picks out of it, why not?
A couple first rounders. I'm sure they're not going to just give him away.
No.
Okay. Where did we leave off? The Bills giving the Jets 13.5.
Wow. And that defense, that's interesting. And a division opponent. I'm going to have to take the Bills in the under here.
You mean the Jets?
Well, no, I still think the Bills win this game. I just don't think they win by 13.
By 13.5.
Yeah.
Okay. The Vikings giving the Commanders 3.5.
I'll take that as a push. The Washington defense is sort of good and bad. They just don't allow a lot of points. And Vikings, I think their record is better than what their team is. So 3.5 sounds good.
What do you think about the Vikings having a 4-game lead over the Green Bay Packers in the win column?
It's surprising, but it's not surprising. I don't.
Maybe it's a 4-game lead. I might be wrong. Packers are what, 6-1?
Yeah, I believe they're. Let's see. I have it up here.
Packers are 6-1, and the Vikings are 6-1, and the Packers are 3-4.
3-5.
3-5. Okay,
so that's what
So they're 3 games ahead in the win column.
3, 4, 7. Yeah, 3.5. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Surprising?
I think so. But again, did we expect the Packers to be good without a receiver on the team and an aging Aaron Rodgers and a mediocre defense? And it's so when you have a mediocre offense and you have a mediocre defense, you're mediocre, and that's pretty much what the Packers are: mediocre, 3-5. I'm surprised. I'm surprised that the Vikings are 6-1. I wouldn't have thought that. Their offense is solid, but it's not fantastic. It's going to be fantastic now with the addition of T.J. Hawkinson, and their defense is pretty solid. So a lot of this is coaching, and a lot of it's they've won 5 games in a row. So yeah, I think that it is surprising, but it's not surprising, if that makes sense.
Okay, the Raiders giving the Jags 1.5 at the Jaguars.
Yikes. I always go the over. I guess the Raiders will win. They're not going to win if they play like they played against the Saints, but they played good football, depending on the week it's been. So I'm going to go the over. The Raiders and the over.
Are you surprised at the Raiders' record?
Yeah, because they are way down there. What are they?
They're what, 2-5?
Correct. 2-5. I'm to be honest, I'm surprised by all these teams. I'm surprised the Chargers are only 4-3. I'm surprised the Broncos are 3-4 and Russell Wilson's playing like doo-doo. I'm surprised the Raiders are 2-5 with Devontae Adams and Derek Carr after going into the playoffs last year. So the only team that's doing anything correct is the Chiefs at 5-2.
Yeah, and we all opened up the season talking about how tough the AFC West was.
Yep. Not now. Nope. That's gone. Flipped the other way.
The Seahawks given the Cards. No, the Seahawks getting 1.5 from the Cardinals at the Cardinals.
I'd stay away from this one, so I'd say push. This could be a blowout by either team, and this could be a very low scoring game by either team. So both of them have bad defenses in certain ways, and can be exploited if they can exploit it. So this game's going to be very strange, I think.
The Rams plus 3.5 at the Bucks.
I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna go push Buck. This should be 3.5. Yeah, Bucks.
The Titans. Oh, what is this? I think I made a mistake here, but I had the Titans plus 8.5.
8.5.
Plus the Chiefs.
Okay.
Let me check that real quick. It's on right here in the fantasy.
8.5 would make sense. But yeah.
Oh, yeah. Where's my? Oh, here it is. Pigskin Pickup. Yeah, I use Pigskin Pickup from ESPN for the group for now, and they give you one group where you just have to pick the winner, and then they give you the other one where you use the points. Surprisingly, now on the one where you just pick the winner, My percentage is 68.3
That's not bad.
on my pick by according to the spread. I'm 50.2%. So not bad.
That's
Not
not bad either. Yeah.
so against the pick, you know, against the pick, I push. With the pick, I bring a little. I mean, I bring a little money home. So,
Nice.
uh, but let me see. What game were we talking about?
The Titans and the Chiefs, I believe.
Uh, okay. No. Okay, I thought I had that wrong. The Titans plus 10.5
10.5. Okay.
at the Chiefs. At the Chiefs.
Yeah. It could be even more. The their Chiefs are susceptible against the run, and Derrick Henry, of course, runs the ball, so that can keep the clock churning and keep it closer than what 10.5 is. But yeah, this offense is just monstrous. So I would actually go the over of 10.5 against the
Well,
Titans.
okay. Uh, and the Monday night game, the Ratbirds favored by 3.5 over the Saints at the Saints.
God, without any wide receivers, I think I'm going to
And you
go.
got Andy Dalton. I mean, so I mean, it's kind of balances out. Uh, Michael Thomas is gone for the
Yep,
year.
that's true.
Uh, Landry hasn't necessarily lit things on fire. If it wasn't for Olave,
Yeah,
who the hell who's catching the ball?
yeah, your guess is good as mine. I
Right.
don't know.
Yeah. So that's so it's not like the Ratbirds are in bad shape, but I mean they're both about even. One has Delvaney, Devaney, and the other one has
Olave.
Olave.
Yeah,
So uh, but you got to give Ratbirds credit at quarterback and
yeah,
tight end. So
yeah, yeah.
you
Um, so I'd go Rappers plus, or I shouldn't say plus. I should say Rappers at 6.
so they'll cover.
They'll cover.
Okay. Um, let's see. Waiver wire. Yeah, waiver wire. Yeah, I don't have any things down there, but Naheem Hines, Jeff Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, uh, what's your thoughts on picking up some of these guys off the waiver wire? I'm looking on a lot of ESPN players available. I'm looking at Delvaney, uh, Himes.
Palmer is probably a good one
Uh,
for the Chargers, just because Keenan Allen. I don't know. It seems like every time Keenan Allen's ready to play, something happens and he
Keenan,
yeah,
Keenan, 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 and Mike are both out.
both out.
Yeah,
So yeah, Josh Palmer, Terrace Marshall is getting a little bit more playing time now that, as you mentioned, Robbie Anderson is gone. Tyler Algier might be. He's looking like he's taking over that role, but whatchamacallit's coming back. Cordell Patterson's coming back soon. I'd like to see what Kadarius Toney's going to do with Kansas City, so he might. And then at tight end, Greg Dulcich. Um, Quarterback, what's his name? For the Broncos, I lost it. Russell Wilson is looking towards Greg Dulcich quite a bit over the last few games. So, um, if you're in desperate need for a tight end, Dulcich might be a guy to look at.
Uh, what What about Claypool?
I like him better in Chicago, but they don't throw enough anyways, and it's going to take at least 2 weeks for him to get accustomed to Chicago, and I don't see him better than Darnell Mooney. So you're on a team. He's on a team that's going to throw like 25 times and is the second banana.
Well, uh, you with Devo out. Well,
Mm-hmm.
let's put it like this: has Ayuk lost his fantasy value? I mean, you're talking McCaffrey, you're talking Devo, you're talking Kettle.
Yep. And
So, so I mean, uh, is there enough balls to go around? Are they going to let Jimmy G throw that freely for him to get to his fourth his fourth option?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I say, what do you think about Ayuk? Uh, McCaffrey, Debo, George Kettle. Enough footballs to go around. They're gonna let Jimmy G be that free, that gunslinger type. Uh, looking for his third or fourth option down the field.
Yeah, I think Ayuk's going to definitely be someone that is. It's going to be the yeah fourth or fifth maybe in at times. There's just a lot of weapons to feed, and he was sort of out before Christian McCaffrey even got there. Every other couple of games or so, he'd perform well, but now with Christian McCaffrey, they're all going to take a hit, all of them. Um, that's a lot of juggling pins that he's going to have to worry about with that offense and trying to make everybody happy. It's almost like having three, uh, what's his name? I'm losing it for the Warriors, the point guard, Steph Curry's. It's like having three Steph Curry's out there. Like where you who's gonna shoot, who's gonna pass, who's gonna, and all that kind of stuff. So
Hey, what'd you think about McCaffrey throwing that touchdown pass?
that was a beautiful pass. I was like, okay, all right. Emergency quarterback you got there.
Hey man, uh, you keep stats. First guy or second guy? Throw, run, throw one, run it, pass for one, run one in, and what was the third? He did
Oh,
three things. He got
so yeah, run,
three,
throw,
three
and,
he got
catch.
three different touchdowns, right?
Yeah. The other one is catch.
Yeah, that's right. He caught one. Okay,
And LaDainian Tomlinson in 2002 was the last one to do it before him.
2002. That was the year before I moved out here. I should remember that. Okay, we're gonna play a different game this week, Mike. Uh,
Cool.
so now, usually I ask you about who to sit, and we, we play you know sit or start.
Right.
This week we're gonna play who scores the most fantasy points.
Okay.
Okay, Matt Stafford or Tom Brady.
I got to go Tom Brady. I can't trust Matt Stafford. It's not like I can trust Tom Brady either, but Matt Stafford has just been awful. So
They're
I'm going to go
playing. They're
the
playing
lesser
each
of
other,
bad.
right?
Uh-huh.
They're playing each other.
Oh, yeah. Well, and they're probably going to be very close in points as well, too. I'm going to go the least of bad and go Tom Brady.
Tua or Patrick Mahomes.
I can't bet against Patrick Mahomes. It's just too tough. So I'm going to go Patrick Mahomes.
Geno Smith or Kyler Murray?
This week, Geno Smith could actually beat Kyler Murray. Yeah, I'm gonna go Geno Smith just to be fun. Sure.
Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson?
Josh Allen. I probably would put Josh Allen over Lamar, even if Lamar had a full complement of receivers. But with Rashad Bateman out and Duvernay, I mean, most of the offense runs around Mark Andrews, anyways. But still, I'd have to go Josh Allen.
Kirk Cousins or Derek Carr?
Kirk Cousins right now. Derek Carr, talking about being awful. Derek Carr's been awful. So I'd have to go Kirk Cousins.
Justin Herbert or Aaron Rodgers?
Justin Herbert. We know Aaron Rodgers. He's with the Matthew Stafford and Tom Brady's of the world. Maybe a little bit better, but yeah, Justin Herbert is youth.
You know, right now, if Aaron Rodgers is hearing you while he's drinking his tea, yeah, I'm not even going to tell you what the consequences are going to be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You might have to edit this in post production, James.
Okay. Blue Earth be with you. Okay, a couple running backs here. Eckler or Joe Mixon?
I got to go Eckler. Mixon hasn't been what he was last year. Mixon's going down, Eckler's going up. So I'm going to go Eckler. If this was like 4 weeks ago, I might have gone Mixon, but this isn't 4 weeks ago. So Eckler's the guy.
Dalvin Cook or Derrick Henry?
Ooh, I think Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry was going to run over this Chiefs team. I'm curious to see if he's going to make 100 yards rushing, but that Chiefs defense is not good against the run.
Devin Singletary or Leonard Fournette?
Lenny. He has more chance of a touchdown than Singletary does, and catches more passes than Singletary does. So I would say Uncle Lenny.
Oh man, now I got to worry about Aaron Donald. Jesus, no,
yeah.
Man. You know, he's pissed off Aaron Donald and Aaron Rodgers. So,
I'm more worried about Aaron Donald than I am about Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, let's see. Josh Jacobs or Aaron Jones?
Ooh, that should be a fun matchup. I think Josh Jacobs is going to have a bounce back week. He was just bottled up against the Saints. Aaron Jones has had, I believe, 2 weeks in a row where he's been really good. So I think he'll dip down a little bit in this week. So Jacobs is the winner.
Okay. Alvin Kamara or Ramondre Stevenson?
Kamara. He does more catches, runs. Now, if Ramondre gets in the end zone, that might change things a little bit. But that Colts defense is really tough against the run. So I'm going to go with Kamara. He's just more functional.
Okay. Few wide receivers. Cooper Kupp or Justin Jefferson?
Whew. You had to throw the Titans at me. Oh, my goodness. Wow. I'm going to go with the better quarterback, and that's Kirk Cousins right now. So Justin Jefferson's the winner.
Okay. Tyreek Hill or Stephon Diggs?
I can't bet against Stephon Diggs. So that connection with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs is so just explosive that it's something I can't go against or can't choose one or the other. I mean, Tyreek Hill is definitely explosive. There's no doubt about it. And Tagliola's been good, really good, especially considering where he's come from the last few years. So, but yeah, Diggs to me is a little bit more consistent.
Uh, yeah, remember this is the most points scored now.
Mhm.
So let's see. There's a couple of wide. Well, I guess we'd call them flex, maybe wide receiver threes. Thielen or Renfro.
I think Renfro has just been almost phased out of this offense. It's all Devontae Adams, whether it's running the ball or throwing the ball. I mean, not throwing the ball, catching, being targeted. That's the word I was looking for, being targeted. Uh, or it's, the tight end, Foster Moreau or Darren Waller. But Hunter Renfro is not on the field a whole lot either, comparable to what he was before. So I'm going to go Adam Thielen.
Yeah. Remember, you were the one that gave me the statistic about he had up until the first 3 games this year, he had caught a touchdown and
Yeah,
how many?
it was. Yeah, he hasn't gone without a touchdown 3 games in a row.
Yeah. And so far, like, well, this was his fourth game, but then he caught fourth and fifth, right? I think he had 2 games in a row where he caught a touchdown.
Yeah, he caught the one on the third game, and then last week he caught one, I believe, as well. So yeah, maybe he'll go 2 or 3 games or 2 games again and not catch a touchdown.
DK Metcalf or Drake London?
DK, Drake London, yeah, not in that offense. Give me DK. DK.
Okay, let's see. Got time for a couple tight ends here, so let's see. Tyler Higbee or Dawson Knox?
I think Higbee, because Dawson Knox is a touchdown or bust. So Higbee will actually be used somewhat in a dump off situation. So if Knox doesn't score a touchdown, Higbee should win, and I'd count more towards catches and yards than I do touchdowns. So Higbee's the winner.
Well, Waller is supposed to be back this week. He's been having trouble with his eye, but he's been cleared to come back. So, Kyle Pitts or Darren Waller?
Ooh, what happened to these guys? I'll go with Kyle Pitts just because Darren Waller's coming off an injury.
Tunyon or Taysom Hill?
I got to go Taysom Hill just due to the fact that Taysom just does so much on that field. I'm waiting for him to throw, catch, and run for a touchdown.
You're waiting for him to make history, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Mike. Well, I know that we are on this week, so no more technical difficulties on our part. So tell everybody where they can find you and give us your final thoughts for the evening, man. Anything on the waiver wire that we should look for, especially your thoughts on, where most teams are 8 games into the season, your thoughts on reaching that, which usually the halfway point. But we had that extra game. So, there's another question that I wanted to ask you. I was thinking about this just before we came on the air. Right now, the Eagles are 8-0.
Yes.
The undefeated Miami Dolphin team was a 16-game season.
I think it was 14.
Was it 4? Okay, 14 games. Yeah, makes it even better. Okay. What if the Eagles would do the same as, say, the Patriots when they went undefeated until they got to the Super Bowl? Would 17 games undefeated be considered an undefeated season like we did this combined no hitter because they went 3 games because the schedule was 3 games longer? Would the Eagles consider to be having an undefeated season also?
Hmm. I think so. I agree with that. I think if I always look at it as game wise, unless they're divided into 2 seasons. So like the Patriots had, what was it, like 19 games, 20 games in a row that they won, but it was over
Right.
2 seasons. That to me is like that no hitter, where you have different pitchers coming in. But if the Eagles go 17-0 and the Dolphins went 17-0, 14 wins in the season, and then 2 or 3 in the playoffs, the Super Bowl, and they won a total of 17 games. 17 games equals 17 games to me. So if the Eagles would win another game and have 18 games, then to me, that's more of an undefeated season than what the Dolphins had.
Well, I mean, and I'm stopping at 17. Remember, if they make the playoffs, that's what, 2 or 3 more games, even.
Exactly, exactly.
So you're talking about a 19 or 20 game season
Right.
undefeated. I mean, so would the Eagles go down as the best undefeated team in history?
And to me, they would for sure. Because not only are they doing it in more of a parody, um, where teams are look at the rest of the league outside of like Kansas City and Buffalo and Philadelphia. Everybody's like 4-4, 3-5. This is probably the most parody that we've seen ever. And to do that in that kind of environment, I adds to it as well.
Yeah, like I said, it'll be funny to see. Well, first of all, how far the Eagles go
Yeah.
undefeated. I think their next 2 games is it the next. They have at least 2 or 3 games that are pretty easy. I can see them going what. So let's look at that Eagles schedule right quick. But I think I can see them going 9-0 or 10-0. Really.
I think they have let's see here. They have Washington next week on Monday Night Football, then the Colts, Packers, Titans, Giants, Bears, Cowboys, Saints, and Giants. My prediction is they lose on Christmas Eve to the Cowboys.
Well, it does. The Giants are playing well. The
They are.
Giants, the Giants are playing well. They have to play them twice. I don't know if they can beat them on the road, but it's just across the creek there, as they would say in the old days.
Yeah.
So but yeah, the Giants and the Cowboys. I don't see the Bears being that big of a
No, they should beat the Bears.
yeah, and the Packers, if things stay the way they are, of course.
Mhm.
And no offense, but your Colts aren't really threatening
No, they should beat
anybody.
the Colts.
You know
Yeah.
what happened? What happened to that vaulted Colts defense, man? We were talking about how good that Colts defense was going to be at the beginning of the year, how they were set in so many places. What happened?
Defense is fine. It's the offensive line that's just collapsed. The offensive line has just been atrocious. They just aren't cohesive. They're missing blocks. Their assignments are wrong. It's like a clown show. It really is. They don't. they it's really bad. And that's one of the reasons why they benched Matt Ryan, was because he was just going to get slaughtered back there. So, yep.
Yeah, it's awful fun to me when you talk about clowns and it's not Cleveland. But
Yes, right.
hey, man, as always, good chopping up this Friday night with you. Give us your final thoughts. Tell everybody where they can find you on social media, man.
Yes, sir, and right back at you. It's always great to do this with you on Friday nights. You can find me RFL Red Zone on Twitter. That's pretty much where I am social media wise. Outside of that, I just hope everybody has a great fantasy football weekend. I hope you win, and do put in the best players you possibly can, and wish you the best.
Mike, are you going to stay on your Twitter platform?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm not on it a lot, but yeah, I definitely am on it here and there.
Okay, no, I was just asking that because I don't know all the new rules that's going to be associated with Twitter, and I'm on it
Oh,
also.
yeah,
You
yes, sir. I'm actually following you, but yeah, I don't know either. Who knows what Elon Musk is going to do?
know. Hey, well, all right, man. You have a great weekend, and look forward to talking with you next week.
Yes, sir. You do the same.
And be sure this weekend we can all load it up on from Twitter, excuse me, from Facebook. We have on both our Facebook platforms, the Steeler Chronicles, as well as our Sports Crib. So, uh, as I said, all donations go to promoting our program, and you can find us on our Cash App, $ JEK3, as well as that's our Cash App. And as Mike mentioned on Twitter, we're a West Coast Steeler fan. So have a great night, everyone. We'll talk to you next week right here on And the Winners Are.